Hi friends, we're here for another episode of the Good Vibe Show with me, Vivek Atray. And today we have entertainers with us. And we have filmmaker Ojaswwee Sharma. Welcome Ojaswwee.
Thank you,
Who's a national award-winning Rajat Kamal Awardee for his film Admitted. And we're going to talk about his latest film, Rabb Di Awaaz, and forthcoming films also. And we have RJ Abhinav, who's played the role of RJ Karan in the film Rabb Di Awaaz. So we're going to talk about radio and acting and the transition.
Yes.
So Ojaswwee, with you, it's a friendship. We've learned to admire your work. Chandigarh knows your work, but people outside may not. So talk about filmmaking as a career first.
I think you have to be in love with telling stories and then telling them more aesthetically and then connecting to a lot of people. And then the language of cinema is beyond any language per se, be it English, Hindi, Punjabi or Telugu, whatever. If you can emote without saying anything, I think that is the first format of expression. Rest all add to the glitter and glory of it, of having people who the audience can recognize with. They become the actors of your film, and you need to have good writers to put in a great plot, good dialogue writers to give them, the words, something to speak, and then the technical things, the cameramen, the soundmen, the musicians. It's a big world, sir. I think it's filmmaking for me is like the perfect amalgamation of art, business, science, commerce, now legalities, like everything put together at the same time. So
What are the one or two qualities that you have which make you an appropriate filmmaker? What is it that you have which makes you a good filmmaker?
as far as I have understood my modus operandi, I think it is the observation. I don't read. I think I'm more into observing human behavior and more into observing my environment and understanding expressions in all languages, in all sects of the society. I may say whether the rich, whether the poor, in all forms. So I am more out there when I'm not making films, and when I'm all set to write and prepare my film, then I completely shut down, and that's the way. I don't want any external thought. Whether if there's a bombing happening outside, I will not really look into it.
One other quality which I have noticed is empathy. Observation with empathy. And then the themes that you have in your films. But before we come to that, एक language की बात आपने की है तो उसको अभी ले लेते हैं.
हाँ जी.
रब दी आवाज़.
जी.
Language is universal.
Yes.
You have made it possible for hearing impaired, visually impaired people to follow the film. वो कैसे सोचा और कैसे किया?
Sir, जो film is, film has a protagonist who is just like the all of us, and then there is an entire different protagonist who is totally visually impaired. Now when half of the audience that belongs to the visually impaired fraternity, when they want to watch the film, they want to experience it the way they will understand it. So it's like half the language, half the film will not be understood if the community does not watch the film. So when we did the audio description of it, so that was the way to reach out to the people who are blind, the visually impaired. Now when I had people of all forms of disability also part of the film, like those who are MR, those who are autistic, but they all watch videos on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So whatever they get out of it, but they are an audience to the created films and the media. So I said, let us make them a part of the film. And then how do you make it inclusive? Not just from point of view of the gender, but also strongly from point of disability. Now film is an audio visual medium. The visually impaired will rely only on the audio, and the hearing impaired will rely only on the video.
Right.
For them, whatever dialogues, whatever the intensity with which all these scenes have been filmed, you will not get anything. They can't read, they will not rely just on reading subtitles, the hearing impaired community. So we said, I took a call and I reached out to the signers and I said, we want to make this film reach out to, tens of thousands of them have seen the film. And the disability community is endorsing the film right now. कि भी कोई तो फिल्म आई है जो inclusion की बात कर रही है. और मज़े की बात ये है कि when I went to the censor board also and I said कि audio description और sign language में censor करनी है, I said कि अभी हमारे पास तो इसकी expertise नहीं है. And after We got the film censored. I think the Ministry of Information Broadcasting invited comments to make cinema inclusive. Now they have announced an inclusive Bharat campaign, but our film is censored.
No, but this is what I was talking about, that empathy, that inclusiveness, that forward thinking, which really impressed me because I was a small part of the film. But you have made the film in a way that is so empathetic to society. But coming to Karan, Abhinav, Abhinav एक ही बात है, because your role in the film is Karan.
Yeah.
आपको कैसा लग रहा है? How did you switch from radio to acting, and how is the feeling of playing an RJ on screen?
So, to be very honest, it was a little terrifying at first. But we met during when Ojaswwee was doing Admitted. He came to me we were in the radio station and he asked me to be a part of the film. And at that point in time, I just had to be myself because again, it's a documentary. We're just telling the truth. And after I left radio, then we had that commitment between us. We had that bond, that understanding that yes, this is a project that we would like to pursue, because we had that similarity of thought there about the issue of inclusivity and trying to make cinema that has an impact on the society and the world we live in. So then it was literally a chance meeting near Housing Board Lights where we reconnected again, and he said that okay, you're done with radio, now I have a challenge for you. And me personally, it may seem daunting at first, but I do secretly love challenges. So then he asked me to he gave me the seed of the story and he said that this is what I want it to be all about. But I want you to nurture it. I want you to, put some life into Karan and, turn him into a character. And again, it was a little daunting because I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Right. So, be it in front of a camera or even writing a film. And obviously, someone of his caliber entrusts you with something, I could not take it lightly. So, for me, it was all just an exercise in repaying his faith in me.
And you've done brilliantly well. I've watched the film, of course, and I've seen you act, and he brought out the best. And the way you have portrayed, I mean, don't want to give away too many details, but those who haven't watched the film, I mean, the transformation and that pain and then the triumph, fantastically well done. Really, Ojaswwee. And but Abhinav, ek aur baat isme, you said Housing Board Chowk, and for those who are uninitiated, we're talking about Chandigarh. And Chandigarh is a place which has been highlighted so beautifully in the film. Ojaswwee, talk about that. Why this love for Chandigarh, and what is how did you manage to portray it so well?
Sir, I don't know. I think it is more up to the audience. Now, I am absolutely brought up here. I found my meaning in life here. I found everything here. And when I always saw films happening, being made across the world, wherever the makers of the film came from, and whenever they found, recognition, some of them did go back and make films from the place they came from. So that story comes out. Now, if I have not lived a city enough, I don't know the culture enough. I think this is the only city that I know the culture most about. Maybe I can talk about any other city I may visit. But where I have studied, where my kids study, where I found my wife, where I found everything in life, where I found you and sitting in the office, the initial interactions we had. So I found everybody here, and it is not just about the landscape of the city. This film features 95% people from the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the actors, all the technicians, everything. So this is Chandigarh ki film. Bas, very simple. So,
but the message of the film is so universally societal. I mean, the way you have talked about the visually impaired, and let us talk about it. The person who is visually impaired, who's speaking so brilliantly on radio, that medium of radio you brought out. So just talk a little bit about this concept and how it worked.
Sir, I think the story was initially titled Awaaz, and we didn't get the title from the Guild Awaaz, so it said Rabb Di Awaaz. So because I think I wanted to raise this thought in the minds of people that God, भगवान जो हैं या जिसमें भी आप मानते हैं सुपर नेचुरल पावर में, तो they will suddenly walk into your life and they will not announce and walk into your life. And help and anything act of God, I mean, happens to you when you are least expecting it, and maybe when you are the most devastated. That anchor walks into your life at that point.
Yeah.
And that happens in the film. So and आवाज़ किसके लिए सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है? आई थिंक एक विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड के लिए आवाज़ से ज़्यादा ज़रूरी कुछ नहीं है. And it's come across through the film that they don't look at you from how you look and what you wear and how you sit and how you do that, but it is like what you convey, how you communicate. So radio was that pillar. And in the digitizing era, so we brought across a lot of subplots in the film. So like the social media hunger, you know, everything, self-doubt, everything happening around in the same time. And then there comes the simplicity of life in the hustle bustle of life. So it's almost two worlds coming together and right now on the platform, and then everybody is just listening to the audio and the visuals of it.
Exactly, and then you found people who suited and fitted the bill so well. So the good vibes we're talking about, Shiv Sharma.
Hanji.
I mean, I can't think of anyone who could have done that role as well as him.
Absolutely,
It's just brilliant.
I think inclusion का सबसे बड़ा point ये भी है ना sir, मतलब where do, if can any hearing impaired person ever get a chance to be in films? Tell me. Has anybody thought about it? No. Has anybody thought about accurate representation?
I remember the Sanjeev Kumar film where he was, of course, he was not hearing impaired,
Yes.
but he was playing a person who could not speak.
Yes.
Huh? वो थी ना कोई? And was it Jaya Bahaduri or was it someone else? Anyway, but you're right. I haven't heard of that. Yeah.
I mean, says are in the modern times at least, but these are extraordinary actors. So acting itself is a skill, but here our point was also a lot more about representation, a lot more about giving people a fair chance. When you say that you will have reservations being a disabled person in jobs, in education, I mean, then what about forms of art?
Yeah,
what about
yeah,
forms of life, and not to have a sympathetical approach and have an empathetical approach. So even the music composer team has people who are visually impaired. So inclusion is done at all levels. Even writing dialogues for Shiv Kumar Sharma was in Braille. So how do you make it accessible, inclusive? It's not just ki they are there on the film, on the screen, and they are doing their role. Everybody who's an orthopedically impaired, a hearing impaired, a visually impaired, any in all forms, or an MR or autistic, any form of disability in the film, they are there. They are there inside the film. That is why it becomes India's first multi-inclusive film.
No, and you've released it free of cost on YouTube, and it's gone over the world, and
All
people
over.
are watching it from all over the world, and hundreds of thousands of people have watched it
Every
already.
day the number is growing.
Every day it's growing. Karan, Abhinav. So Abhinav, this role encompasses what a young person is typically going through in this era.
Yes.
Overthinking, maybe shades of depression.
Yes.
And then emerging from it. So how do you identify? And do you think people across are actually going through this problem? And how has the film been able to highlight that?
So when we started working on the character of Karan, the one thing that we both had in common is that we don't want to make light of anybody's struggle. Like, there are people who do face challenges. We see people whose challenges are visible to us. For some people, they're not. And in the age that we're living in, people are becoming, let's say, more individually complete, but they are also becoming more isolated from each other and their own emotions at heart also. And it is true that given the nature of competition that exists in our corporate culture, we do tend to put our own mental health at the backseat just for the sake of, let's say, a few more pennies, because we believe we can earn it back later. But we don't realize the toll it takes on us. I'm pretty sure all of us have somewhere or the other during our professional experience maybe just wanted to thrash our boss once or twice. Right? But
Which happens in the dream.
yeah, that's just it. That it's again we don't realize that why we are experiencing these thoughts. It's because we are not able to give our lives that balance that it desperately needs. That it's not just about pursuing our own instant gratification, which is so prevalent these days, but it's also about understanding and connecting with other people and the enrichment that it can bring us.
Yeah.
When I was working in radio, the very first year I was there, the biggest surprise for me was that most of my callers who used to call into my show, and they'd be the most engaging, the most vivacious, the most brilliant people ever. I got to meet them. Most of them were visually impaired. They couldn't see at all. And they said that, for us, this is our cinema, this is our entertainment. We connect to your voice and the reality there. So it was about as authentic a connection as it could have existed. And it was a very humbling experience for me as an individual also to learn that there is so much that we take for granted. You know, we may have sight, but there is so much that we don't see.
You know, I'm interrupting you, and this is not a Samsung promo, but there's a Samsung ad in which visually impaired children are waiting for the TV repairman to come, repair the TV so that they can hear one of their own participating in Indian Idol or something like that, or Saregama. And they are waiting eagerly, and the Didi is also visually impaired, and the guy comes and he repairs the TV. He's shocked that none of them can watch the TV and they are waiting to hear only. So these lives have to be understood.
Yes.
And we tend to, you know, society, Ojaswwee, sometimes somebody's on a wheelchair, they don't even talk to him.
Yeah.
But the guy is there, he talks, he listens, he smiles, he laughs. Just because he's on a wheelchair, we tend to treat him very differently.
Taboo, sir. I think we are not. I don't know. Perhaps a few of us have been raised with that thought, but I think in the more future, when we talk about now inclusive education, when we talk about more inclusive engagement, I think the society needs a whole lot of sensitization, consistent hammering.
And what are you
One
going to do
film-
about it?
One
Ojaswwee?
film will not do it, sir.
One film, but what is your future plan for this, to this end? What are you planning ahead? Is your genre going to be always or mostly in this realm?
Sir, it's a universe. So these characters will come. So the story we'll be making a different film, but then we'll have a more evolved representation. We'll have more evolved characters. We'll have more genuine representation coming in films. We'll have more enhancement forms of making films accessible. I mean, cinema is so damaged right now. The kind of mobile thing that has happened. I mean, look at the people who are Dhobi, are Malis, are drivers. Look at the kind of cinema they are watching. And I mean, you need to fix it somewhere. And this film, I mean, this is like on its way. Maybe it will reach somewhere to some people. Even if it changes the way 10 people look at life, I think it will do its good.
You know, I'm going to talk about the bigger picture. I am using the word picture in a very conscious way. So the bigger picture is that people are watching 60-second reels. And we used to hear the word reels in terms of cinema earlier.
Yes.
It used to be about 24 or 16 reels or something
minutes.
like that. So now these reels, India is reeling under reels. I wrote an article. So we are besotted, we are obsessed. And cinema is 90 minutes or 75 minutes. So how do you retain that interest when in this era?
Sir, I think everything exists at the same time. Reeling is more consumerism, it's more marketed that way. But people pay premium to watch films. Nobody pays like 5 rupees to watch a reel. So that is something that the people will consume till they get it for free.
Right.
The moment you are charged 1 rupee to watch a reel, you will see like 2 billion people just withdrawing that app or that software right there. Today, WhatsApp announces 10 rupee subscription fees a month. People will that day only find an alternative to go switch to a free medium.
I didn't think of this, but this is one way to curb social media.
Sir, I mean, that is what premium subscription talks about. You keep watching ads, but if you don't want to watch ads, pay us. Right?
So I tried it on YouTube now, and I'm trying it for a month. It is much more convenient. Distraction free, and the cost is not that much. If you look at it, it's a couple of 100 rupees or something, so it's pretty good.
So I think how society is also evolving is a patience level, the concentration level. Now, a test match also exists and a T20 also exists. Right, sir? So, the rate at which society and kids are, and people of all age groups, now you look at the longevity of relationships. Now, it's a swipe away. It's either a left swipe or a right swipe or a bottom swipe or a up swipe, whatever.
Earlier, swipe used to mean somebody swiped your something.
Yes.
Now it's swipe.
Yes. So, I think India is perhaps one of the largest countries where I think an average person has 2 mobile phones or a dual SIM in the same. So, I don't know इतना क्या काम कर रहे हैं.
कर नहीं रहे, वो उसमें absorbed हैं. They're in the virtual world. So in the era of AI, people are finding it difficult to carry out these conversations.
Yes.
So I think coffee, nimbu pani, chai, whatever you have that and have a conversation, or without it also.
Sir, I personally am not a reader. But my wife, she's a hell of a reader
And a writer.
and a writer, right? And I mean, she will understand society the way it is written, and I will understand society the way it is behaved.
No, what I remarkable thing about you, and I observed just now, you know I'm a cricket person. And you brought out the example of a test match and T20.
This is a 50 over
I don't think you are that much of a cricket person, but you brought it out thinking of the person sitting in front. This quality is something which makes you a better filmmaker also, as you said, observant, empathetic. That is really remarkable and praise for
But
you.
I think nobody teaches violence. Violence is learnt, but empathy and behavior is taught.
Is natural.
It is also,
Yeah.
and in the kind of, I maybe say I will expect my children to learn. I will behave that way, and they will learn. I cannot behave a certain way and expect them to learn a different way. And like I'm observant about you, and when I was writing, when I conceived RJ Karan, so I told Abhinav, the moment I walk in, this is the behavior I need of the character. This is the way it has to be. This is the way Shiv has to be. The moment Karan comes in, and that is the way he shakes hand with the person with Shiv and say contestant kaun hai, to like the other person. That is a natural flow
That's
where
a
the society is
fantastic
going.
way. Yeah. I remember I was told that I am some kind of officer and I have to say some stuff, and I was there. Next thing I see, I'm in the movie. So fantastically well done. I had no idea of anything else that was happening. He's one director who doesn't give the script to anybody except for the main actor.
That's about it.
But Abhinav,
Yeah.
this was the role of an RJ. Going forward,
Yeah.
there could be other roles.
Yes.
So what are you looking forward to?
I'm open to all challenges that come my way because I see them as learning experiences. And of course, I had such a great start thanks to such a wonderful captain leading the team.
Yes.
And I'm just happy that, again, anything was in service to his vision. And that's what I learned about the field. That it's basically following your captain's lead and, trying to deliver whatever he requires as he requires it. So if there are more challenges ahead, like we keep discussing, and I would be more than open to pursue them because now that initial fear has gone. Now
You may get offers from elsewhere also. ये नहीं कि the captain may change also at some point.
he's my captain.
But Abhinav, any lighter incidents during the making of the film?
Oh yeah, there were plenty of them. So first off, like when initially we discussed, like when he said it that you are going to play this role. Now obviously I came home and I told my parents, as one does, and my mom being an avid Bollywood fan, she's like, gym. 6-pack body banani padegi. And I did start. I started like working out like crazy. I started, like just lifting weights and getting into like really
Yeah, you're in good shape. Yeah.
even more so than this. And then like we were just talking about the character, and then we just both simultaneously were dissatisfied because we understood that somebody who's suffering from something like depression won't be taking care of themselves. And then I had to go back and tell my mom that listen, अच्छा
कोई शाहरुख खान वाला वो सलमान खान वाला हीरो नहीं है.
Role demand नहीं कर रहा.
रोल डिमांड नहीं कर
So
रहा.
then-
रोल 6-pack डिमांड नहीं कर रहा.
yeah, and then I was a lot happier. Then I was like, okay, now I
In
get
the
to
scene,
eat.
he wakes up and he has not eaten his dinner in the film, and he wakes up hungry. He just has a coffee and goes to office, and in the office he's not eating much. We never show the character eating at all, so people will wonder eventually that if he's not eating, how is he so beefed up?
Beefed up is the right or wrong word, I don't know. But दूसरी बात, you're an intense guy, intense filmmaker. When you're there, you must be really into it. But your lighter moments, how do you let off steam? What do you do? हंसी मजाक का क्या है?
I think the moment you cut, I think you are in a different zone. It's all about the team, and everybody knows there that when it's the action time, like you are living that part, and the moment you cut, and then everything happens. ये कटर ऐसे क्यों लेके खड़ा हुआ है, कहाँ नीचे से कहाँ शॉट ले रहा है, लाइट ऊपर पड़ रही है, so you are observant of the environment, and then the whole set is like a family.
He wants to
I
say
have
something.
to give him some. I have to just counter him a little bit there because of my experience on set. He made it so much fun for everybody, and there were particular sequences in the film where there's a lot going on. and like, you know, the sequence is supposed to be me and another actor doing something, but then he was the most animated person on set. And if you see the film and if you see the making of the film that you see in the credits, you'll see him in action there also. And he made sure that everybody was very well taken care of, everybody was having a good time when we were making the film. There were so many laughs to be had, and he made us unafraid to take chances.
I'll pause you there because this is, we're running out of time, but fantastically well explained. And I agree with him. I think you made everyone feel absolutely at home. How are you evolving as a filmmaker and as a person in your journey? How do you see yourself getting better and better? In what ways?
I absolutely have no answer to it. Actually, मैं खुद पे
What is lacking at the moment? Is there something lacking which you would like to improve?
the market.
नहीं, मार्केट भी और अपने अंदर कोई परफेक्शन में कोई कमी है जो इम्प्रूव करनी है?
I think I should not write the characters in way too length. I think I'm like when I'm writing characters, I'm writing the character graph of every character, and that is very consuming for me. I just sometimes get irritated thinking about the life of other people I have built, and then I really need time off it and then to start something.
So I say in my motivational talks that when you take time off your main work, that time off makes you work better when you come back because you are refreshed, you are recharged, you are energized. And if we are totally only into that, then the efficiency goes down. You have to sharpen your axe.
It happens, you know, because now since our film is being screened everywhere, so whenever we keep watching the film, then sometimes you start liking the scene कि नहीं इतना भी बुरा नहीं लग रहा, you know? And then तब सोच रहे थे passing में cut में कि over ना लग जाए, but when you look at the audience responding to it and then you realize कि certain age group responds to the same humor in a different way, and then you can't make everybody happy at the same time. But are you happy in the end of it? Whether you say whether you have done your full justice to it, whether you have the right people with yourself, the answer is yes.
So I wish you more films. I wish you more creativity.
Thank you, sir.
And more empathy, more observation, more of the same, and more success. All the best. Ojaswwee.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Abhinav, and fantastically well done, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching and see you again soon.